I was planning, by the way, to do some kind of intro, but now we don't have an intro. We're gonna just record, I guess. So welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast. The
first
number one.
Number one. We don't know how we're gonna call it, but it's a podcast about in English now. The first ever Bulgarian podcast in English about improv.
How about that? The name of the podcast, the first ever Bulgarian podcast about improv.
So it's a FEBPAI.
Rolls off the tongue.
It has AI.
It rolls off the tongue.
For something.
Yes, Flev.
It has AI in the end. So we're going to separate the first letters from the AI again. About improv.
Flembege.
About improv. Yeah. By the way, Sofia's stuff is very fun because Sofia, when you do something in the end, it's like so something. Now it's so Improv Fest, Sofia International Improv Fest. So
I'm warming up to that. I didn't like it at first, but now I'm really warming up to it.
About the so thing? Because so many things around here. So there's so fests.
So I'd like to introduce the first guest, Zlatin Tsvetkov.
Yeah, thank you.
Founder of Shizi Improv Theater.
Yes, with this logo.
And with this logo, now you introduce.
You are Mr. Doctor. You're Dr. Ronald Harvey, a man of many talents.
Indeed, Doctor of Psychology
and a good friend. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, you have to say that in psychology. Did I miss that? Doctor in psychology.
Doctor in psychology. Yeah. Okay. So I'm not that kind of doctor.
Okay. But you always say when I go to the States, you always say hello from Dr. Ron.
Because that's how everybody knows me. I'll tell you that story later on.
But they don't know that you're a psychology doctor then.
Oh, no, they absolutely do.
If I say hello from Dr. Ron, they're like, oh, the gastroenterologist.
No, the podiatrist.
Yeah.
So tell me about the origins of improv in Bulgaria.
Yeah, we should say that, right? It's like this podcast is going to have a couple of this main idea of this podcast right now. This exchange is to say a little bit more about the history of Bulgarian improv, because I think that's interesting. And you told me that you think that might be interesting.
There's an amazing coincidence. The first time I spent long-term time in Bulgaria was in 2009, and I understand something else happened.
Yeah, in 2009 we started in June to we started doing games in the park. Some stuff I was called by a friend of mine and said, let's do some games in the park, and I didn't know what was about, and we started doing improv in the park, and we had the first show on the 15th of December 2009 in a lobby of a theater.
Really?
Coincidentally, where Shizi Improv Theater is playing right now, it's the same lobby that is right in front of the theater stage that we perform still.
Wow.
On.
Yeah. That area between the club and the theater.
Yeah, that's the first. Now we have the Shizi Improv Club on one side of that lobby, and a theatrical stage that we rent with about 130 seats that we perform every second Friday.
So what was the motivation to do improv in the first place, and who is we?
Yeah. So it's a long story. I started doing improv when I started doing acting. So I did an acting. I was in an acting studio, kind of like when I was 16 to 20, and then I entered the theater academy in the year 2000, and there we have a very kind of tough system. We have about 14 and 16. We used to have 14 and 16 people in class, and we have one teacher that is very knowledgeable, and he runs the class. He teaches acting for 4 years. So he teaches you everything he knows. He has an assistant and a team, and every year 2 acting teachers accept those total of 35 people, and they teach them for 4 years. This is, I think, the Russian school of thought. You're going to have a single teacher for 4 years with his team, and every semester we did, like the first semester we did those just tries. They're called études in Bulgarian, like I think it's from French, it's like tries. Then you do every teacher has its own system or her own system. And we did the second term was Chekhov, the third was I think contemporary plays, then we did Shakespeare, then we did Pinter only. So it's like very thorough. And the last year you do a play, and you rehearse one play and you perform another play, and the theater has 440 seats theater space, and the last year is just doing shows and seeing the arc of like the first shows, the second shows, the 10th show and the 20th show. What's the difference?
Sounds very intense.
Yeah, it's intense. So we are a group of people in this class for a very long time that we spend a lot of time together. It's like you go there at 8 o'clock in the morning, you leave at 10 at night. That was,
Wow.
I remember going out of my home from before my parents wake up and going back home after they went to bed. That's my memories when I was like 19 or 20.
And there are 14 of you in that class.
Yeah, 14 to 16. Sometimes, people come join from other classes. Sometimes people leave, stuff like that.
And a group of you decided.
And yeah,
out
one
of the
of
blue?
that's the precursor. One of the people that we recently graduated with. So his name was Ivailo. His name is Ivailo.
Still.
He's Ivailo Ruguzinov. And he called me and he says, "Hey, let's do some games." And it turns out he went to Glastonbury Festival in 2009 with a friend of his who was another actor from another class. And that's one of the biggest festivals in the world, I think,
Yeah,
musical
huge.
festival. I think like 150,000 people
Yep.
on a meadow in
Paul McCartney
Britain.
just recently played that. Yeah.
So he did that, and he went to there's multiple activities in those circus tents, huge circus tents, and he saw improv there. And people asked him, "Oh, where you're from Bulgaria? How's improv in Bulgaria?" He was like, "What? What is that?"
What?
And they gave him an improvencyclopedia.org webpage. So he went there,
which still
and-
exists.
Yeah, and he printed it out. It was like about 150 pages or something, and he printed that out. And we started doing games in the park, and we were like on a small meadow in the middle of a park, which was right next to his home. So he just jumped out of bed, and we were there. And it was very frustrating. So very hard, and we were very self-conscious because we're actors.
Why frustrating?
Because it's you're playing mostly, a lot of times you're playing as yourself in a way. There's no fourth line. We're theater trained. Very much you're doing your character. You're spending a lot of time on it. For a single semester, our teacher for 4 months, he was giving us 1 or 2 or 3 max scenes. So you're working on a character for a single scene for 3 months in order to perform it once or twice for the exam, right? Or for a play, you're playing it like 1 year or 2 years, and then you're working on another thing. So just making it up and going in front of the audience, pretending that you're playing now, but you're not playing now at the same time. It was a lot of, it was very strange for us, and we were constantly thinking that we're failing and we're not doing a good job. And one guy, so we were 5 of us. Yeah.
Classic improv early student feelings.
Yeah.
So this is coming from the person. So if you feel bad as a beginner, this is what everyone goes through.
Yeah. So the origins is professional actors playing games in a park, feeling silly, and then we came fast forward. We went to his apartment because it was getting cold, so we couldn't play outside anymore. So we were like, we're going to play a bunch of games for our friends. And I remember we were in a very tight lobby. It was like very tight corridor. And there's like a bedroom where he was with his sister. So it's like 2 beds back to back. It's a tiny space, like 1 meter to 2 meters, like very tight. And on the beds, we had 3 viewers, 3 audience members on the beds. It was my now girlfriend, was back then she was my girlfriend as well. So it was 2009, and it was a friend of ours who passed away unfortunately, and the sister of Ivailo. So those are our 3 audience members.
That was the first performance.
Yeah, because we were in the corridor and we were entering this room and we were like playing the game and then we're going out. So we did a party game. We did the gibberish expert or something the classics, like new choice, stuff like that. And I remember one of these games. It was the party game where the guest is supposed to not the guest, the birthday person is supposed to find out who the guests are,
who the celebrities are.
Leonid, one of the guys from the group, he entered and he was supposed to play Johnny Walker, and you're not supposed to know the guy. You're not supposed to give away who you are. He just entered and he says, "Keep walking." And like, shit.
a little bit too obvious
like
of a clue. Yeah.
So that's my memory of the first show, and it was our first performance. But we were a bunch of friends. We were like Tony, Ivailo, me, Peter from another class, and Leonid from another class. We were both all actors. 3 years of classes, like 3 years back to back. 2004, 2005, 2006 graduated, and we were having fun.
What
And
did
we
you call
didn't-
yourselves?
We didn't plan on doing much. Ha 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 was the name of the group.
Gotcha.
Ha Ha Ha, 3 Ha's,
I-
which is a laughter in Bulgarian.
It's laughter in almost any language.
I don't know if you say so.
So why did you were afraid at first and then you did it, you had fun performing from an audience. When did you kind of get hooked?
Well, we did the first show, and I think it coincided with on 15th of December 2009. We did the first show. After a bit later than this.
15th of December 2009, a
Yeah.
date that will live in infamy,
In Bulgaria.
improv for me.
So, and we invited about 20 people, and I think it coincided with the introduction of events in Facebook. So the event, back then it was very organic. There was no ads or anything. So if you do an event, everybody sees it. And so we invited 20 people, and 20 people showed up. So, and they had a lot of fun. And we invited the same 20 people for January. It's like 2 weeks later because it was, holidays and stuff. And in early January, we invited the same 20 people, and 40 people showed up. So the entrance, the lobby became kind of smaller. And the third time we invited people, 90 people showed up.
Holy moly.
Yeah, so the third show was 90 people in that lobby, so it wasn't enough. So I have been working for that theater that rents the theater space, and I asked the director, can you help us out? It's Monday night. Nobody works on Monday night. Monday night is a day off for the theaters. Can we use the stage?
It's Slavianska.
Yeah. So can we use that 140 seats theater? And he said, yes. Are you making any money? And we said, no. And he says, okay, you're not going to pay me if you're not making money. So that's the, the way it worked. And I think some places it still works like that. You help me out, I'll help you out. We'll figure out a way. You need something, I'm going to, help you out.
Well, almost everywhere in the world that I've traveled, it's always somebody has traveled someplace and they get exposed to improv. And they see it, and they may have heard of it, but they never saw it before they saw it. They sort of catch that little bug, and then they bring it back to their home country, and they start gathering friends and just playing games and stuff. And it's very organic.
Yeah.
I've heard this story. It's a beautiful story. It happens many, many, many times everywhere.
And I think the next step of the story also happens a lot, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, what's the next step of the story? So,
Well,
I mean...
but this is still the how to say it,
You're in 2010 now.
Yeah, but it's still the honeymoon phase, right? So everything is getting very hyped up because people are enjoying it. There was nothing like that, and I think that Facebook thing also helped. So we started using the stage a bunch of times, and then we asked, and it started to get fuller and fuller. So it ended up being with people standing up and waiting in line for about 40 minutes to get in.
Wow. So
it was sometimes we had to say, we're packed, we cannot take anymore. There were about 200 people in that room. It's 40 seats, but then it has a lot of space on the side so people can stand up and stuff.
And it has the balcony above.
It has a balcony, yeah. The balcony is part of the seats, but still, you can fit more people in. So I counted one time 200 people.
Wow.
Yeah, in that stage. So we started doing this regularly on Mondays, and we started asking for people to give us a donation on the way out. And nobody from the actors, nobody took any money. So we just piled it up for future use if we need something. We created a logo, and interestingly enough, we called people and said, hey, want to try this with us? We don't know what we're doing, but we can do it with you. So we started the first classes in October 2010.
Wow.
Yeah, and 12 people showed up, and they paid money they pay. It's like it was an open class, but the same people showed up all the time. I think we had the same people probably for more than a year, showing up twice a week for 2 hours at night. Yeah.
And who taught the classes?
Well, it was me and Ivailo. I organized the classes, the calls and everything, rented the space, and then we started teaching. He was teaching Tuesday, I was teaching Thursday.
Nice.
Yeah, and the first time we were together, and we said, we don't know what we're doing, and we're happy that you're here, we're gonna experiment.
You're still working off of that printed 150 pages from the Improv
Yeah.
Encyclopedia.
Yeah.
Wow.
So because we're experimenting with games, we're finding fun. We're thinking we're a boy band of some sort,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
It was kind of like a boy band thing. Yeah.
Great. And so it built up.
Yeah, so we started playing regularly every Monday for about 2 years. We started putting a number on the show. So it's like Improv number 1, Improv number 2. We called the show Improv.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Per the European designation, Improv.
Yeah, Improv. Yeah. So we experimented with a lot of games, and we had a couple of shows that had 400 seats with like anniversaries and stuff like that.
Wow.
So at one point, we tried to make it bigger. Yeah. And at that point, I think I started feeling that I wanted to do something else. We had like a year and a half has passed, and we noticed that everybody has their own idea of what it is, because it's instant success in a way.
Right.
So you don't know what you're doing. You're having fun, but at one point you're like, hey, this could be this, this could be that. So differences start showing up. This is the second phase, I think.
Yeah. So during this period, from 2009 to 2011, which is where we're about, did people go to festivals? Probably
No.
most of it, you got stuff on YouTube.
No. When we go to the acting academy, there was one teacher that from another class who was saying, do you know that you're applying for poverty? So you have to agree when you go to the acting academy in a way. It's like, you're going to be poor. This is like a base level understanding of what you're going into. This is like it's a dedication, like you're dedicating your life to something.
Sure.
So art in theater academy is like more of you're dedicating your life into the pursuit of the artistic, not like show business. There was nothing like that from the point of view of the teachings that we had.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of like to us it feels like a game in a way. It's like, what is this? It's not very serious. We're still looking for other perspectives, like finding work in
Did
theater
people have
movies.
regular jobs, acting jobs, or anything outside of that?
Back then, no. Everybody was trying to do acting, because that was 3-4 years after we graduated. We're still trying to get work. I've been working in I started working then in TV. On TV, when I graduated, I had a separate career in TV. So I started picking up the phone, and back then I was at the point that I had a 3-year run as a host on a morning TV show. So I have a morning TV show live. So it gave me financial stability in a way. So it was a 2-hour work every morning.
Mm-hmm.
It was exhausting because I had to read scripts, and it was a magazine type of show on national television, 1 hour and a half. So it's a lot of preparation, but then it's 2-hour work and you get financial stability. So I can do something on the side.
Gotcha.
So we were rehearsing, and everybody had their own thing, like theater, mostly theater or some other type of work. Nobody was doing waiting tables or stuff like that.
Okay, phase 2.
Yeah. So everybody started feeling like there was internal turmoils. Everybody started having their own ideas. Some people coincided their ideas with each other. And I think Leonid first left the group, and he went on later. He was very dedicated to theater. So he went later. He had 3 awards. He played Hamlet in the National Theater. Yeah, he still has a career in theater. The other 3 stayed together. We had initial other people coming in. There became 2 more guys we introduced. Yeah, and later I kind of decided that I wanted to do something more. I started reading long form books about long form. So I started reading a lot.
Stuff you found on the internet?
Yeah. Well, no. Also, we went with Ivailo. We went in 2010 to that festival.
Okay,
to Glastonbury, and I saw some improv firsthand. But it was all games again.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought a lot of books. We bought books from some bookstores. I think the National Theatre bookstore had some books on improv.
What were do you
in
remember
London.
the title of those?
There were a
early
lot
books?
of books. So I read. I think I read Keith Johnston's Improv, and we read Truth and Comedy.
Mm-hmm.
But I was very fascinated with Viola Spolin's improvisation for theater, because it looked more theatrical. It looked more grounded. It looked more like an acting job than it looked like improv. And it was like, how deep can you get instead of how much can you play games? I started to, and I also art by committee. Charna Harper was saying that she got sick with IO. She got sick with playing the games because the games are kind of mechanical. So I started feeling that by year 3, I started feeling that I know what they're gonna do. My partners, I know what they're gonna throw at me because we know what is funny.
Right.
We're playing every week. We're having fun, and we know what is funny. And at one point, I started, this is cliche in a way.
A little formulaic.
Yeah, I'm like, I know what I'm gonna do with as a gibberish expert, so I can get the laughs. So when I read in the Del Close book, The Truth in Comedy, when I heard the idea of don't go for the laughs, go for the cheers, and that the jokes are detrimental to the long form thing, I was like, what is that? So I started thinking about that, and I read that book, and I did some experiments with friends doing more different stuff, but it was very mixed outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's less formulaic, and it's harder to do long form.
Yeah, it's a choice. I think games could be less formulaic as well if you have a certain approach, and I think that's what I love about improv. It could be many things.
Yeah.
It's not like somebody says, I saw an improv show, I know what it is. No, you see one theater show, you don't know what it is. You saw that theater show. Is it a comedy? Is it a drama? There's so many ways to doing theater.
Yep.
And there's so many ways of doing improv.
It's
so
really
everybody's right in a way.
Sure.
But everybody has their own criteria, so there's not one common criteria, right?
It's always about choices.
Yeah.
And you can limit the number of choices that you choose to execute, or you can keep it wide open, right? And so the more wide open it is, the more surprise you're going to have. A friend of mine, Joran Gargello in Chicago, says the one real genuine emotion that all improvisers can experience on stage is surprise.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful way of looking at it.
Yeah, and it's the hardest thing to do from the acting perspective.
Yeah.
The most professional actors are the one that look surprised and they are surprised in a thing that they've done 100 times.
Yeah. So did you do any improv exercises in the acting academy?
No.
No improvisation whatsoever.
No. We are every teacher has their own way of teaching their classes. I think it got implemented after we started doing it with the companies, and people started seeing what it is about. And nothing like that. We had a ton of exercises and stuff, but improvisation in general, not much.
Okay. Phase 2. So you start to be interested in this thing, long form improv.
Yeah.
This is in 2012?
Probably, around somewhere 2012.
Great. And so then what happened?
So then we kind of found out that we cannot coexist because people have different opinions of how it should go. So I decided to kind of go my own way. And we split the classes as well, because we had 2 classes, and they took the 2 classes that were running, and I took the class that just started. So I had 6 months or 7 months of just teaching classes without doing improv, which was a weird thing because it was like if those people decides to stop doing it, I wouldn't have a class to teach.
Right. But you were teaching long form.
I'm teaching. No, I was still teaching. I think I was still teaching short form, but I wanted to explore long form, but with the classes, I still was not very experienced teacher. So I was thinking I'm there for them to have the most fun, and I need them to have fun, so I was playing safe with the games. You know what I'm doing?
So kind of walking on that edge.
Yeah.
Very much.
Looking at it right now, if that class was not okay with me, and they were like, okay, that's not worth it, I wouldn't be doing improv, because that's 6 months without nothing. I don't know if I would have chosen something else to do. I would have decided that I'm not good at this or something if those people are not with me and they don't want to do it.
Was that the class that eventually became Shizzy Impro?
Yeah, that class called itself Shizzy. Yeah.
Wow.
So that class, I think people that started in 2012 or 2011, late 2011, I think they were kind of people from that class still are playing now. That's like so many years later. But they were the same company. They connected with another company. I combined 2 classes, and they stayed together for about 5 years, like like a single group. They did a lot.
Wow.
Yeah. So this class, I was teaching this class, and in December of 2013, No, 2012 December. I did a casting call for actors, and because actors have heard about this improv thing that blew up the last 2 or 3 years, it became very popular. So about 50 actors showed up, and some of them were very, very good actors, recently graduated and 4 or 5 years in. So I took 6 of the from the casting, and 6 I called people that I saw playing, or in I was still going to exams in the theater academy. I had connections and I saw people perform. I didn't know them. I didn't know anybody. I haven't talked to them, but I saw them perform and I heard about them. So I called 6 people. I picked 6 people to join, and 6 people from the casting calls, and I formed a company. And we did, in January, we started rehearsals 5 days a week. And I was like, that was not for money. So I was like, we're going to do it professionally. We're going to work hard, and we're going to see where it goes.
And that's when it became purely long form.
Yeah. So I said, we're not going to do any games. We're going to be called Shizi Pro. So it's not Improv. Shizi Pro, so because there's like a Shizi... That came later, but Shizi was the class, so we changed the name to Shizi Pro, like a professional part of the Shizi company.
And for years, I always thought it was Shizi Pro, like Impro.
No, yeah. But people knew Impro as the show that the Ha 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 did.
Gotcha.
So I was like, we're not going to do Impro in our name or anywhere else. So our show was called Say Your Word, something like that. And so we did 3 months, Monday to Friday, 3 hours a day. Monday to Friday, 3 months, every day of the week for 3 hours we were rehearsing. And back then I was doing the morning show, then we rehearsed for 3 hours, and then I had late night classes, so we're doing 12 to 14 hours a day.
Classes with Ha Ha Ha?
No, those are the class that I was teaching.
Okay.
And I started another one in February, so there were 2 classes, so it was Monday to Friday, 7 to 9. The classes here still, 80% of the classes are twice a week for 2 hours a day. And I feel very happy about that. I'm very kind of happy because you can learn more if you're meeting twice a week and you kind of go faster and deeper into the field.
Mm-hmm.
But with them, I didn't do much games. I did games as a warm-up, but I was like, we're not going to play games. And we were doing Viola Spolin exercises. From the Viola Spolin book, mime props, everything was space, objects, and we were on a theater stage that is like, how many meters? I don't know. Probably 9 meters wide, probably more, maybe 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's very deep as well. So it's like a lot of place. And we were doing those, there's these exercises that you do like blueprints of the area. And you have, this is a cupboard. There's a bunch of cups here.
Mm-hmm.
This is a small table. This
Scene,
is a
scene
thing.
painting.
Scene painting, but in very thorough scene painting. In Viola Spolin's world, it's called the where. So there's like blueprints, and you have this on the wall, and players have to go and touch all the objects, and they have to play with them, but they're not supposed to talk about them.
Mm-hmm.
So you end up having like a mini plays where nothing happens, but it's all mesmerizing to see the whole space.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing to see this. It was beautiful theatrical work and not much of comedy or substance in it. So it was very strange. People, you could see the whole space, and people were so thorough with those objects. And yeah, it was a beautiful time and very exhausting. And I had 2 actresses. They're, one of them is teaching now, Katya and Eva. They were traveling because we were so interested in this. They traveled from another town for 2 hours by train. They did those 3 hours of rehearsal, and they were traveling back 2 hours by train.
Yeah.
Every day, 5 days a week for 3 months.
When did Shizi Pro have their first performance?
March 2013.
Wow. So a year of classes and rehearsals and
No, 3 months.
recruiting.
We started January with them.
Okay.
Yeah, the classes, the company was formed like early January, no name. We just started rehearsing, and the name in the first show came on March 2013.
Okay.
So 3 months, 5 days a week.
And where was that show?
That was in the same stage, the same stage that we were performing.
Great. Do you remember how many people came?
I think it was full. Yeah.
Wow.
Still, it was Pay on the Way Out. We did 7 years also. Again, 7 years on Pay on the Way Out. We stopped doing it, I think, just before the pandemic.
Right. So that's 2013.
Yeah.
Right. March of 2013.
Yeah. And we did one show. We tried to do long form. Initially we did a bunch of games, and then we did long form. And the third show we stopped doing games and we just played long form.
Do you remember that first show?
Yeah, we have photos from it.
Was it a good show?
I don't know now if I see it. I had my hard drive. Maybe I have it somewhere. Maybe the second or the third show I have it because I put cameras in like an archive thing, and then my hard drive broke. And I lost shows from like 2014 to 2017.
Before the cloud.
Yeah.
So you played as part of that group?
Yeah, I was in there, but I was mostly coaching because I had experience, but I didn't want to do, coaching and performing at the same time. First of all, I didn't have self-esteem to do it, but at the same time, I was thinking I work with professional actors. They kind of need directing. So they need somebody to see them and tell them notes and give them notes. Mm-hmm. And I was not sure of myself, they don't know what they're doing. I'm helping them out. I cannot be in there and help them out at the same time because it's like there's a weird dynamic. I started doing that like 4 or 5 years later when I felt like we're kind of on the same page with everything and I can join them. And still initially there was like, one guy said, playing with Zlatin is like going to the disco with your mom. I was like, okay. But then that was initially.
Could be worse.
And then we played a little bit more, and now it's fun.
So one big difference between, I'm an American from Chicago, one big difference between American improvisers and your origin story is that most improvisers are not professional actors. And one thing that you have, from the very, very beginning, it's all been done by professional actors.
Well, yeah, the classes were still there, and they're doing shows, and they're having fun, but nobody is pursuing an acting career. I think it's because of the cultural legacy that we have. Mm-hmm. So we had a socialist system for 45 years, and during that system, a shit ton of money, a lot of money, were spent on cultural activities, mainly because that coincides with the propaganda. So every theater plays a play about communism, how great it is,
sure.
And they have a full pass to do whatever they want, unless if with the precondition that you don't speak against the party, right? So a lot of directors were very good at sending a message covered in Shakespeare's words. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the messages were there. There was like this guerrilla fight, hidden warfare between the state that was trying to. Put a censorship on things, and the artists who were trying to overcome that censorship.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean,
but then, yeah, the legacy is theater is a career, and it's a very serious career. And if you want to pursue it, you have to spend a lot of time, and you got to be dedicated. There were 3,000 people applying for the acting academy back then. I think 40 were accepted. Now, when I was entering, there were 350 for 30 seats or something like that.
Yeah.
For 30 spots. So acting is an actor's job. There was no such thing as a self-made comedian. There was like one or two doing that. Mm-hmm. But it was a rare occurrence.
Well, my impression is that that's true of almost all the arts, right? If you wanted to be a musician, you went to the musical academy. If you wanted to be a painter, you went to the art academy, right? So, in the United States, we don't have that. We have no culture.
Yeah, but you have Juilliard, you have NYU, right?
Yeah, but and people want to become professional actors in Hollywood and things like that. But for improv, almost a lot of the art in the States is almost all what we call outsider art. It's amateurs. Playing guitar in the garage, right?
Yeah, in a way, Viola Spolin was also an amateur, and her son was taking her system.
Yeah,
taking her
and
system.
Professionalized it.
Yeah,
for sure.
But a lot of those people became famous with their theatrical activities, like because I read a lot of history as well. So it's what's his name? Ellen May and Mike Nichols.
Elaine May and Mike. Yeah.
So
I mean you're performing as Shizzy Pro. How often did you perform in like those early days, 2013, 2014?
Twice a month probably.
Okay.
Then we became once a week. Yeah, I think we moved quickly to once a week. And in Bulgaria, we have like 3 months of doing nothing because it's like June, July, August. Nobody shows up because it's warm and people go to the seacoast and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, September to May, we were doing shows once a week, maybe early June.
And so you're training from these books that you found.
Yeah.
When did you go to your first international improv festival?
2015. So it was 2 years of doing it, and I ended up having I hit a rock. How do you call that? There was a block.
Yeah, you hit a rock and you ran into a wall.
Yeah, I ran into a wall. So I read everything. There was everything that I could find online, and I experimented with a bunch of stuff. And then I kept reading about those relationship scenes. And I was like, what is this? I was trying to make it a relationship scene, but people were still painting, using their fish rods and talking about stuff. And,
yeah, talking about fishing.
And I was like, no, but it's creating those wonderful places and filling it up and sometimes going crazy. And it was interesting and it's curious. But what is this relationship building and how we can make it, how can we sustain it? Because it was like a bunch of those 12 people that were playing. I think there were 10 back then. 2 people were left the group. So everybody had their own thing, and they were great performers. So everybody had their moment, and it was very colorful because everybody had a different way of playing, but they played together, and there was so much excitement in the room.
Mm-hmm.
But how do we sustain it to tell a coherent story? There was nothing like that. It was like a bunch of crazy, different way of performing scenes,
Mm-hmm.
And one was good with space object, one was good with creating those characters, another one, it was a one-liner person. So it was a mixture of talents. And I saw on Facebook an ad for Copenhagen International Improv Festival.
Oh.
And it was about two teachers that were I.O. teachers, because I read the books about I.O.,
Mm-hmm.
the Improv Olympic Theater in Chicago, and there were 2 teachers from there.
Do you remember?
Yeah, it was Colleen Doyle and Jason Schutz.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
what a great first exposure.
Yeah, and another thing, Stefan, he's a nice guy.
He does the Copenhagen.
He does the Copenhagen, I think, an improv. He runs an improv community there, and he started from scratch as well. So he did this festival, but he did it 2 weeks. It was a 2-week festival. Like, what is this? 2 weeks? So I spent all my money, and I borrowed money to go there because it's crazy expensive for us. We are like the poorest country in Europe by standard of living.
At that time, now you're not.
Now we're
Hungary
I
is
think
cheap, is
no,
poorer than you
we're
are.
getting there. We're getting to the second, but still, I think we still are. But and it was a crazy difference, So I think,
Well, Copenhagen is one of the most expensive
Yeah.
cities in Europe.
Yeah. So it was a lot of money to stay there for 2 weeks. I remember I stayed in a hostel with 6 people in a room, and then we did improv for all day. But Colleen and Jason, they're phenomenal. And
They're
when
great.
the benefit was like, I saw their show Dummy,
Yeah.
which was like their influence is TJ and Dave. It was a 2-person show for 45 minutes up to an hour. Just 2 people.
Multiple characters.
Sometimes multiple characters, sometimes single.
Sometimes not.
They're like changing a location once or never, changing time once or never.
Yeah.
It was very long formish and very building up great characters, deeper characters, right?
Yeah.
And I saw it like 7 times or something, because they went to another city and they played like 4 days in a row. So it was nice, very nice to see that.
And you took classes with
Very
both of them?
inspirational. Yeah. It was a week-long intensive, and I had classes with Jason and then Colleen. And I was thinking then, I'm going to do a format. I'm going to look for a format, different way to play. Little did I know that scene work is more important now that I'm thinking. Scenes are more important than formats. But back then it was like, what kind of format can we form over substance?
So,
but she was great. She was like I remember the first note is like I was doing something with a chair, and I was like talking to somebody about a chair, and the first note I got was, it's not about the chair. It's like, what is she talking about?
yeah.
But that's the first note that I got, was like, it's not about the chair.
Yeah. It's about the people.
Yeah, and then when I came back, she told me, you love this? You're going to love the 5-week intensive at I.O.
Uh-huh.
And when I went back, because that was like, I think it was late in the year or something, Maybe it was 2014. I don't know. But when I came back, I started checking out the IO intensive. So I immediately applied for the IO intensive in 2015. It probably was 2014, this festival, because I think it was October or something like that.
Yeah, because that's when they had it. It was starting to get cool and dark in Copenhagen.
And I met a lot of people. One of them in that class won 2 years ago Britain's Got Talent.
Oh, nice.
Viggo Venn, yeah.
Nice.
It was fun.
Nice. So you went to Copenhagen, came back to Bulgaria, and started to try and teach this relationship-based.
We did Harolds there. We did mono scenes. We did close quarters. We did a bunch of formats.
Did people get it?
No, because we're teaching something 2 years, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna switch," and everybody's like, "What?" People are like, "Oh, we gotta." What we just got this, and now we gotta work harder. It's like because it's like if you go a certain direction, then it takes more effort to switch the direction.
But aren't actors taught to really focus on the relationship? Even if it's a scripted play, how do I feel about this person? How do I feel about my character?
Yeah, but you're establishing this for months. You're figuring out the nuances for months.
Not at the moment.
And you could do it technically. It depends on how you're being taught, but you can do it not riffing off of the other person, but like imagining what you're riffing off of.
Gotcha.
So you can do it. You can kind of do it on your own.
But it's a difficult shift.
It's better if it's relationship based and you based it on the other person. But then if you're a good enough actor in a way, you can imagine how the other person reacts and base it off of that. And yeah, you need a lot of experience, but you have a long process of developing a character. It's like, oh, here's how I can approach this, and you're experimenting in rehearsals, but then you fix it and you know what you're doing, and you have a character and a behavior. And in a way, you feel comfortable in that.
Gotcha.
And then you start another rehearsal process, and it's another thing. But then it's like we didn't. They were like, oh, we didn't get this still. We're kind of feeling uncomfortable with this, and now we have to switch the approach. So it was like,
It was tough.
Yeah.
So in 2016, you go to the IO intensive.
2015, I went. Yeah, that's why I said.
2015.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 2015. You go to the IO intensive, which is 6 weeks.
Yeah,
in Chicago,
5 weeks. 5 weeks.
5 weeks, and they take you through the different levels in Chicago.
Yeah.
Now,
and then they have extra classes with different teachers, and I booked all of these, so I went to Saturdays and Sundays as well. So shows at night. I saw 65 shows. I have a very thorough notebook with notes from shows, notes from classes, everything.
It's a great thing with the IO system is that all students get to go to all the shows. For free. And you show your student card, you get in, and so on. I think
it was discounted or something, but yeah.
So I want to just say, in 2009 and 2010, my first time here in Bulgaria, I knew about improv, but I had not taken any classes. By the time I started taking classes in Chicago in 2012, as I was doing my dissertation.
Yeah, but you had an improv experience before that. You were there
as an audience member. As an audience member.
Yeah, but when did you get exposed?
In the 90s.
Yeah.
I went to the very first improv opening of Improv Olympic in the 1990s at some point, and I saw the very first Armando show with Armando Diaz as Armando Diaz in the Armando Diaz Experience show. And it's not important. I can tell you that story later of how I got into that. But by the time you went to Chicago, I had already started taking shows, or I was taking classes at IO, and I was probably there in 2015 when you were part of the intensives, because I was taking classes during that time.
But that was June, July. I think classes are off there.
But I would still go to shows.
Oh, okay.
Because as a student, and by that time I was also a performer, and I also produced some shows at IO. I was going to shows all the time, so I was probably in that room
We
with
probably
you.
Met without meeting.
And so you went to that, and then at that time I had applied for a Fulbright to come to Bulgaria in 2016 to do some teaching at New Bulgarian University and research. And as I was preparing to do that, Matt Higbee,
Yeah,
who
he
you
was,
had
He was teaching our level 3 class. Yeah.
for the intensives, said, "Oh, there's a guy in Bulgaria that I met during the intensives. You should look him up."
Yeah.
And his name is Zlatin Tsvetkov, and we became Facebook friends. And I came here in February of 2016. I think it was February 1st. And we met a day or two after that I arrived in Bulgaria. And I had, familiar with improv and performing and stuff. And you met, I never forget, we met in front of Endika.
No, did we? I remember the apartment. There was a place called the apartment.
Yes, we met in
Like
front
a
of
coffee
Endika, and he said, "Let's go someplace and have a chat." And we met, and then we went to the apartment, and we talked about improv, and I really liked what you had to say, and we all knew a lot of the same people.
We had a photo there.
We had a photo there, which
we recreated 6 years ago.
6
years later.
Yeah, and it just popped on my Facebook feed again. And you said, "Oh, I forget what day this was. It might have been a Sunday or a Monday." And he said, "Oh, we're having a show on Wednesday."
That was unusual.
It's going to be an Armando show. Do you want to come and do the Armando? Be Armando for us.
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, I'm going to speak in English. I don't speak Bulgarian." He said, "That's okay. We'll many of our actors understand English, and we'll translate some things. We'll do some things in Bulgarian."
Yeah.
And so that's how we met in person, and that's how open and welcoming you were to me, to invite me to be the Armando after just meeting me for juice at the apartment.
Yeah, I think we're a welcoming nation. In general, I don't know. Maybe
it depends. It depends on what.
I'm happy that you had a positive experience.
Very much so. And so we became fast friends. And so now I want to shift this interview. Is there anything more about the history of the theater?
This was it. Yeah, I switched the approach. I just wanted to add another thing. Because in 2015 I went for the intensive. It was a lot of coaching and a lot of experiences watching.
Mm-hmm.
I was impressed with Susan Messing, with improvised Shakespeare, and I had so much inspiration. So we started doing formats and we developed the theater. But in 2016 I went again, and because when I came back in 2015 from the IO intensive, and I remember I was so inspired. I was like, "Oh, there's this and this," and I saw Baby Wants Candy, and they're doing a musical, and I saw the Shakespeare show, and I was like, I talked for like 15 minutes of this pouring out, my inspiration, and I saw some faces that were like, okay, and I realized
faces here,
the actors, and I realized that they have to see it.
They have to, if you don't see what's possible in improv, you don't.
Yeah, it cannot be translated, right? You cannot say it and people believe you. So that's when I said, next time I'm going 2016 for an advanced intensive. They said they're going to have one. And I went to the advanced intensive, and I talked there to Joe Bill and Joe Bernard. I went to an improv retreat organized by Tara de Francisco, and they said, "Oh, but we're going to Romania. And you should call Monica there and ask her if we can just fly earlier or later." And I called Monica, and she was good enough to extend their ticket for the way back. So after they taught in Bucharest, in Romania, they flew for a week to teach in Sofia.
Mm-hmm. And that
so
was
the first international teachers coming to teach here were Joe Bill and Joe Bernard.
2016.
And that was September. And I said, okay, I have some people, international people teaching here. Can it be a festival? So I did an open call. And like, hey, anybody wants to join Joe Bill and Joe Bernard in Sofia? And 3 people showed up from Norway. And that was the first, and I called it an international festival. So we had a group from Norway, 3 people, Joe Bill, Joe Bernard, and us, in our space, which was, back then it was kind of, ruined down. We did a renovation in 2017. But back then it was kind of, strange looking theater space.
Seats were not comfortable.
Yeah, it was It was not the best stage. And that was the first international festival, was 2016, because of this dynamic, and then it grew, but more of that later probably.
Great.
So you want to shift it to
my impressions of, as a foreigner, seeing you guys perform, and then my experiences at the festivals in early on, because I've been to all the festivals except last year's.
Yeah.
Because I was in Vietnam.
Were you to all? Were you there in 2016?
Mm-hmm.
You saw Joe and Jill here.
I saw Joe and Joe and Bill.
Joe and Bill.
Joe and Bill.
Joe and Bill.
And Jill Bernard. I took Joe Bill's class. And I remember, and I met a bunch of the performers and some of the students, and I'm still friends with them to this day. Yeah. And remember seeing some of the shows, and it was pretty small.
Yeah.
But it was well attended, and people were enthusiastic, and they got to see. I mean, Jill Bernard is great and super experienced. Joe Bill is great and very experienced, and people got to see what it's like to have.
Yeah, it was a 2-person show 3 times.
Yeah,
3 times in a row.
And did Shizzy perform? One thing I like about your festival is that, I don't know if you're still doing this, but you would have a couple days of Bulgarian language performers for the, even though it's an international festival, to have the Bulgarian people come and see improv. And then you would have the rest in English.
No, we're doing it full-time English now, because it's very hard to promote the cross Bulgarian English crowd.
You did that for a
different.
few years.
Yeah, we did it for a few years.
And so I thought that was
now we have
cool.
the Bulgarian groups play within the English, play in English in the festival.
Great. So we have some items
Yeah.
here on the table, and logos and things like that. Can you tell me a bit about the origin of this logo?
Oh yeah.
And the idea behind it and what it means?
Interesting enough, a friend of mine we were together from 1st to 7th grade. So we went to the same, how is that, preschool or something?
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Like
K through 1 through 6, K through 6.
Yeah. So we kept in touch, and I called her Adelina. She's a very great artist. She does graphic design. So I called her with the Ha 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 group to create a logo for the Ha Ha Ha. So she created a very nice logo for the Ha 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 company. And then I called her when I started doing the Shizi thing. I called her and we want to do it again. So we have the same artist do both of the improv companies. Because right now I think we are the 2 major improv companies in Sofia.
Mm-hmm.
There's another one called Introduce Me, and there's also a few others. But playing regularly on stages, I think that's the 2. And the logos are created by the same person. Shizi means... It I think translates into English like the schizos.
Mm-hmm.
It's not clinical, but it comes from the idea that we kind of have multiple personalities in ourselves. It's kind of multiple emotions. We have many faces in a way. It's something like. Do you use it like schizo?
So most people think schizophrenia means multiple personalities.
Yeah, but it's not true.
No, what it literally means is split, and split from reality.
Uh-huh.
And
Okay.
so it's a kind of blanket term for psychosis.
Yeah.
Psychosis is a blanket term that includes schizophrenia. And schizo.
But schizo, do you use schizo or something like
No,
that? Yeah.
we'll use it to as a derogatory way of saying people are crazy.
Yeah, well, I heard, I'm not sure if it's true, that idiot in French, like idiot, it doesn't mean much. Like when you say like, idiot. We have something like that in Bulgarian. I'm not sure if this is true in French, but I've heard it. In some words, in some languages, doesn't mean that clinical stuff. When you say shizi in Bulgarian, it doesn't mean, hey, you're sick or something.
Mm-hmm.
It means like you kind of have... You express yourself in many ways, in a way.
Yeah,
right?
and that's fine. And
So the shizi is it came from a game with the class that I was teaching in 2012, I think, and Rusina, she's teaching now classes. She was part of that group, and there was this word at a time. I don't think it was word at a time. It was a sentence at a time story that we played. So they all created a game of some guy that created a wine from himself, and he drank a lot of that wine. He was a monk, and when he was drinking that wine, he kind of became like had multiple personalities, and he he was. He cheated on himself with himself, and he caught himself, and he put himself in jail, something like that. It was really crazy. And then his name was Shizi, and we're like, oh, Shizi. Like then they took the name and they used it. And when I did when we created the acting company, we were looking for a name, but we couldn't find one for a long time, for those 3 months actually. And the closest we got was the Matchstick Men or something like that, which sounds not Matchstick Men, but kind of like the Explosive People, something like that. And it was not good. So I was like, okay, this group, do they want to share their name with us? So we took that name. They said yes. I asked them. They said, yeah, you can use it. And we called ourselves Shizi Pro. So it's like a Shizi Improv company. The Shizi performers that are from the classes, and the Shizi professional group in a way.
Gotcha. And
so they were playing parallel for a year or two or something like that.
And I was told this oval
Yeah.
comes from an oval design in the floor of Slavianska.
No.
No?
No. There's nothing. Somebody was joking.
Okay.
This is the idea. This face is like has a double
Yeah.
side face. So it's like a happy and sad face, and we have multiple.
Multiple designs.
Yeah. Then Adelina started doing these multiple designs of it. This is a brochure from like 5 years ago or something.
Great. So
and it's double-sided. We can turn it upside down, and some of them like also, and one of them looks like ninjas, or like they have different expressions. So it's the idea is like we play different characters in many faces of the same person.
And you also do multiple formats. So you do Heralds, you do Armandos, which is pretty standard, but you do also Shizi Shakespeare.
Yeah. So what happens is there is a purpose to it in a way. Like the actors have one purpose, the classes have a different purpose. The purpose of the classes is to use improv to make you to help you become a better version of yourself. So soft skills. Teaching you how to communicate. And with actors, we do that, but there's an additional goal of show what this art form is capable of. So the professional actor's goal is to expand the universe, to check out, to see what's to become better performers.
Stretch the limits.
Stretch the limits, yeah. So what happened is when I came back in 2016, I started working on the Shakespeare show because I saw how good it is, and I liked the American version. So we started creating our own version of it, and we still play it until today. So the idea of the actors is like, what else can we learn? What else can we show that improv is capable of? So we did Shakespeare, then we did a Harold for a number of years, Harold and Armando. Our main show, Say Your Word, was like, let's show the people what improv is capable of. But because the theatrical audience here is used to not less than an hour 10. There is no intermissions, and if the show is less than an hour, it's not worth your money in a way. You're entering a theater space, so you give the actors the chance, you are waiting. It's not bar prov. It's a theatrical stage. Audience comes in and they listen and they give you time to show them what they got, because they're used to seeing plays, and plays don't start with the most important thing initially. There's like a setup and everything. So we have the luxury of like having people's attention for at least 15 to 20 minutes without them asking us to be very funny initially. So I think it's good for formats that are longer, like 1 hour formats and stuff like that. But still in the early days, we're very kind of still scared that we have to keep their interest, and we did funny comedic Heralds for 25 minutes. Then we did 15 to 20 minutes of Armando monologues and scenes off of them, and it becomes faster and faster. Heralds have some time to develop, but then it becomes faster and faster with the monologues and scenes out of them. And then we ended on music. We introduced music in 2013 I think between year 1 and 2, we started doing musical stuff, and it was initially just line, 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 chorus, chorus, line. And then we started developing this part, and it became more and more sophisticated. And then we did a musical in 2018 and 19. And since then, we've done a bunch of formats. We invited people to teach. Imba Lori did a format. Jochen Meyer did a format. Tarantino.
Yeah.
And now Timor. Finally, we did Timor. Timor helped us do a 3-act play. That's the last thing that we did was the Naked Stage. And we're very happy with that because it's very theatrical, and you can have the single space and 3 acts, and it's a play. And we continue. In the meantime, we're experimenting with different things. We did mono scene. We did everything.
Right. You started to do shows just you and Katya?
Yeah, we started doing 2-prof recently.
What do you call yourselves?
Katya and Zlatin and Katya. And some people think we're 4.
Catchy.
We don't have the name because it's just it's a kind of test run. We do it in the Shizik comedy club. The comedy club, we opened a comedy club in 2017. We did a renovation of all the spaces. By the way, the spaces were renovated with half the money came from donations from the improv community.
Yep.
For the main stage, we did new seatings, cleaning the floor, clean the place.
You had that plaque.
We have a plaque with
set up.
donations, yeah. And we opened up a comedy club which has about 30 seats and a very small stage, which is like 5 meters by 2 meters. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the other thing that you've done sort of in parallel, in not just building up the company and building up an audience, but you've tried to build up a community.
Yeah.
And in my experience of just going to improv all over the world, the thing that really makes for a community is having a dedicated space.
Yeah.
And that's what this Shizzy Club
Yeah.
is all about.
It's parties and
Parties, hanging
and,
out,
hanging out, and shows for classes, and party shows for classes, and we do rehearsals there every now and then with like the classes.
You rent the space out. There's
Yeah.
other people do stuff there.
Yeah, so we still have we did a 4 or 5 tries before we get our community space like the club, and we have 200 square meters, three spaces for a training center. That's what happened, I think, between 2017 and 19. So it kind of grew. When I started the Shizi Pro company with the actors, I think I was teaching about 30 people. By year 1 with them, I was teaching about 50. And then I introduced the first additional teacher from the actors, Ilian. And now we have about 160 people in classes with kids and teenagers. And I'm teaching another 4 teachers or 3 teachers, and we have about 7 of them now.
7 teachers.
So yeah, a total of now we're introducing improv to schools now, to teenagers and kids in schools.
Great.
This is yet to come.
So one of the big differences between you guys, you mentioned, an hour or 15-minute show. This is what audiences expect in the States, and you've seen this yourself. So like IO will have a group, and they'll come on stage and they'll play for 20, 25 minutes. They'll do a Herald or something like that. Then they'll go off, and then another team will come out, and they'll do another set for 20, 25 minutes. Then there might be an intermission. Then the headlining team will come out. They're usually the most experienced, and they'll do a 20, 25-minute set, and then that's it.
Yeah. Well, this is the Improv at IO. There's also the Shakespeare show, which was 20 minutes, then an intermission, and another 25, but it's the same narrative.
Right.
And then there's the Second City shows that are 2 hours with an intermission and then an extra hour of improv at the end.
I mean, those are scripted shows, the created from improv. Then you have TJ and Dave, which will be an hour and a half.
45 minutes, an hour and 10,
Yeah, of just,
2 people and single time, no time jump. I think that's the hardest thing to do, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
But you go to many of the clubs in Chicago or LA or Chicago, and it'll be this multiple teams. You pay for a show, and it'll see at least 3 teams.
Yeah, that's what happened at the festival. We're having multiple teams playing back to back.
Right.
For 3 hours or 2.5 hours.
Right.
But on shows here, the audience have a certain, and I think it's very cultural. I think it's how culturally the country developed their attitudes towards culture. How do they consume the cultural products? And that sounds tough.
No, I mean, every culture has their own expectations of what. I mean, improv is so ubiquitous in the United States. People do this in grade school now.
Yeah.
It's everybody knows what it is. Everyone's familiar with what it is. Everyone is exposed to what it is, whether it be on TV or every city almost has an improv school or an improv stage, and it'll vary in quality, but everyone kind of knows what it is, and it's still limited in Bulgaria to Sofia.
2 companies here, that mainly 2, and then some extra shows, but not very specific or not very scheduledy.
You had
Consistent, and then some Varna Improv now and Plovdiv Improv now.
you for a time was doing something in Ruse.
Yeah, we started. There was a project that one actor and director there started, and he introduced us, and we formed a company there. But I think it's not running anymore. It started 3 years ago or something. One of the ladies that went there and played came to Sofia, and now she's teaching kids, and now we're gonna teach her to become a teacher for kids in improv here.
Great.
So it's interesting.
So it's grown.
Yeah.
Are you pleased with how it's grown?
Yeah, very happy, and I'm happy about the people, because it's recently we're reading some quotes. It's not about the people. It's not about the journey. It's about the people who you meet
along the journey.
Along the way. I think Del Close quote. I think it's written as a Del Close quote, although maybe.
It's an old.
Yeah, probably.
Right.
But people form everything. It's about the people. I think Susan Messing also was saying Harold is a place where is just a house where them bitches live. It's just like some people are somewhere and they communicate and they exchange ideas and stuff. It's about people. You're interested in people, and I think people here are great. People are forming communities. They're happy with each other. They're having fun. I think one of the reasons for that is first of all, it's cultural. We like hanging out. We still have time to hang out. I think that life is not that busy still in Sofia, although it's a lot busier than when I was younger. But still people hang out, want to meet, exchange ideas. They're open, and also they're not pursuing that much of a career. Because I think if you're pursuing a very strong career and you want to make money and be famous, it switches your perspective. And I notice in the States how this can happen. Like like places that are more orientated towards, the art become more oriented towards fame, and then it becomes less of a community, more of a step towards success.
Yeah, I mean, when I was taking improv classes in Chicago, I was the oldest person in every room almost, and most of the people who came wanted to get improv experience because they wanted to be an actor in Hollywood.
Yeah.
They wanted to be a writer in Hollywood, and they were all doing multiple things. Everybody was taking classes, but they would have their own independent teams.
Yeah.
And as you know, in Chicago, there's lots and lots of independent stages. So if you wanted to perform in your independent team, you could find a space to do that. Yeah. And people would do that to get experience, and they eventually they would move to LA or New York.
Yeah.
To make it. And I have a number of friends who I know from improv in Chicago who are now very successful actors in Hollywood on TV series, mostly in comedy, but some, doing dramatic.
Some become writers.
Some become writers. Some write for The Onion.
Yeah.
So when I was seeing improv in the 90s, the first groups that I saw had a guy named Kevin Dorff.
Yeah.
Who's now, who's gone on to write things. And so people have gone on to write for Conan. People have gone on to write for Stephen Colbert. Some people have performed occasionally in those. So it's a stepping stone for other things.
Yeah.
And here it's less so. It is much more for personal fulfillment.
Yeah. We just like for the last 5-7 years, there was some stand-up community growing. So those are people that have not done anything before that. They don't have professional training in acting or anything. They just show up and they write jokes. Yeah, this is a new thing here. We have one of the acting community, not the acting, the classes. One guy from the classes is having a stand-up mini career, but still he cannot make anything. He cannot earn a living out of that. And I think part of that is scale. it's for fun. You're probably a little famous. You do it. People are happy with you, but you cannot sustain a career that way. You cannot pay the bills. There are like probably 2 or 3 people that can pay their bills by doing stand-up, and I think it's because of scale. When I read Steve Martin's book, he was like started at a very small club doing nightly stand-up stuff, and then when he was more successful, he went to the other states, and then it was like one venue there, and then eventually he became famous, and he had like 60,000 people in a stadium.
Yeah.
If you have 60,000 people in a stadium here, you can do one show, and that's it.
Yeah.
Everybody saw you.
Right.
That's it.
It's done.
It's done.
The entire
So-
country has seen you
yeah,
almost.
so you do like 1 show, 2 shows, and you run out of places to perform.
Right.
So you cannot perform the same material. You have to create new material. But this is impossible to create new material every 3 months or something. And then because of the low standard of the country, the prices outside of the capital or the 2 major cities are lower, so it's not sustainable to do it. You don't get that income from touring, and then you go back home, and you don't earn the money that you earn home. So you're kind of, this is financially it's a very draining exercise to do art.
So you've had an improv festival since 2016.
Yeah.
Every year except for COVID.
Yeah, 2 years we skipped.
Okay. So you're this September you're going to have
It's
Sofia,
8th edition. Yeah.
Sofia Improv Festival number 8, and you've announced the teachers and the classes and things like that. So what? I have 2 questions. What do you see as sort of the main difference between Bulgarian improv, if you can call it such, and American improv or improv that you've seen in other countries? Is there a Bulgarian voice for improv?
Well, I don't think. First of all, I'm trying to think less nationalistic, because it always sounds like, oh, this is Bulgarian improv, this is Polish improv, this is French improv. Every country's improv depends on the people. So
Sure.
as we said, it's the mentality of the people that create the content. So Bulgarian improv is gonna be unique, and every country's improv is gonna be unique because
Absolutely.
every country has different. In the zeitgeist, there's different.
So what's unique
themes.
about Bulgarian improv?
I think we are more. I don't know. I think a lot more people here are not that inclined just for comedy. They want to explore it in a different way. I found it easier here to make people more invested deeply into stuff, like more deeper scenes, more natural flowing scenes, more like acting as improv exercises. I find it easy when I do workshops like that and I go in that direction. People are more inclined to share truthful emotions. I think emotionally people are truthful here. When you say there's a difference, I think a lot of places in Europe and in the world are different than the States. When people ask, how are you? In the States, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. How are you? This is not a question in a way.
Right.
It's like
It's just a
we
greeting.
We agree that we're greeting to each other.
Yep.
If you ask somebody here, how are you? They say, I had a tough day. And then you listen to a few words about the tough day and you say, oh, I'm sorry to hear that and stuff like that. People are kind of honest. What you see is what you get mostly, I think.
Yep.
And in improv, that translates us to we can do scenes that are more not all the scenes are going to be we're going to be great and we're going to look good and everything. I think people want to explore deeper emotional and behaviors, and with actors even more so, because that makes them feel that it's more theater. So we had a show we did just before the pandemic, I think, or during the pandemic. We started exploring just before the pandemic. We started exploring a show called Light and Dark. So it was about we did it on the
It was one of the themes for the festival.
yeah, we did, but it was a show initially. We used it in the festival as a theme in 2019, but we did it in June 2019. We did it at the Mount Improv Festival. That was our first show in English abroad, and we were 4 of us. And it's tough because three out of 4 we don't speak that well English. So in Light and Dark, you sing a monologue, but the thing is, it's truthful monologue. So it could be even a dark monologue in a way, and you explore that person's relationships with different people. So it's a monologue and relationship scenes, and we didn't pursue fun that much, like it's gonna be comedy. So we had a scene uh, where people gasped, or they felt bad, like they had the emotion of the audience was not was very empathetic to a character, uh, and there was this raw theatrical feeling. It was not abusive in any way. It was just an experience that was tough on somebody, and you feel the gasps and the emotion of the audience to the person. And I think that's very difficult to pull off, because if you don't have enough experience, those emotions, when you share them with people, they don't look that honest. It's very easy to push yourself and try to show that you're feeling bad. It's not easy to share you feeling bad, which means that you have to feel bad, which is contrary to what we want to feel. And actors are open to these exchanges, and they're open to experimenting with that. When we're doing our comedy shows, I think a lot of times we're making fun on each other, or the things that a lot of people make fun of. But what is unique other than that? I think this is a direction that is unique, that we're willing to go. And I think that we could be good at this with the company. But yeah, I think we're laughing at ourselves a lot. Yeah.
So you've seen lots of groups in the United States. And you're bringing lots and lots of different international teachers to the festival and stuff. What's your hope in approaching it like that? You are very international. As far as I know, you're the only person in Bulgaria that regularly goes to festivals in other places, and you bring that perspective back. What's your sort of hope in bringing all these international teachers to the festival year after year?
Well, I'm happy to see that people are showing up from different communities now, that there's a community in different areas in Bulgaria, and people are kind of being inspired. It's all about inspiration. That's how it started. I wanted to show people what it's capable of, and do the maximum of variety that is possible with quality, mixed with quality. And I'm hoping that people are inspired and pursue it and do it more and find out their own way of doing it. Because it's a lifelong pursuit to find out how you can be the most out of yourself. I think I'm into this acting business and into this acting thing because this is a unique opportunity, and improv is kind of the same. It's a unique opportunity to explore different facets of yourself, of your emotional experience, so you're increasing your capacity to be more of yourself and connect in different ways to different people. And what I'm most happy about the festival is like the joy of mixing all those different perspectives in a happy and positive way, and just the sheer happiness of meeting other people with the same mindset. Because when you do an improv jam, international improv jam, everybody's yes-ending and they're trying to do their best, and people go on stage and they're speaking the same language of improv. They have different perspectives, and then it becomes crazy quite often, but there's a lot of joy in that. The mixer teams, we always keep the mixer teams with the festival. There's like people sign up and they just jump on stage for 20 minutes or so, and it's always a happy energy on stage.
It's a happy chaos.
And then you have different perspectives. Those 2 people do it that way, those 7 people do it that way, and people that have a lot of experience do it that way, and people with less experience are exploring this and they're doing that way. And it's a lot of perspectives, and that's my hope. My hope is people to be inspired by watching all this variety, so they don't say, "Oh, I've seen improv once, that's it."
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I had Jason Schatz as a teacher multiple times. You had him when you went to Copenhagen, and the thing he always would in a class, I don't know if he said this to you, I'm positive he did. He would always say at the beginning of a scene before we started, remember, you know each other and you like each other.
Yeah.
And then and get in the boat together.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the biggest thing. It's like a mantra that I took from him. Do you think that is something that Bulgarians like to do, to know each other and like each other? or is it?
I don't think anywhere people are inclined to do that initially.
Yeah, everyone wants to fight.
Yeah,
Everyone wants to disagree. Yeah. Everyone wants to say, I'm married to you for 20 years. I hate you.
Yeah. Well, we're being taught that way. I know where it comes from the actors. This is the hardest thing for the actors to do.
To know each other and like each other.
Yeah, because in every, how do you call it, drama, if you write drama, right?
Right, there's got some conflict.
Drama is fueled by conflict. This is being taught everywhere. So everything you see, everything you watch, like plays or shows or movies or everything, it's about conflict. It's everything conflict, struggle. Is either outside struggle or inner struggle. Inner struggle is more interesting but harder to pull off. But we're being fed that. So this is it. But I have this favorite quote from Viola Spolin. She said, in order to have a fight, you must agree to have a fight. So agreement comes before conflict in a way. In order to have conflict, you have to agree to have conflict.
And that's to know each other. You have to know each other.
We just skip this in movies, for example. There's like a few seconds where everything is fine. But because the screenwriters are very good, they make that person do one thing, do another thing, do a third thing, and now you know that character because he behaves that way, because he does this, he does pancakes to his kids, he loves them, and then their kids are being kidnapped. It's like, okay, but he did pancakes just before that, but you're not focusing on this, that they established agreement, because it's very quick and very subtle. And in improv, we have to work on that, right? Mm-hmm. But I think everybody, if even with internationals or anything, I think I've talked to people and people tend to do that. Initially, they don't know, they disagree, they fight, but it's something we need to learn, right?
In the U.S., I've had multiple teachers who they really try to breed that out of you.
Yeah.
To not have the fights, to not have the conflict. Jay Suko is a great teacher who I've had multiple times. I'd be in a scene. He'd always psycho. There's no problem.
Yeah.
There's no problem. No, you love her hairstyle.
Yeah.
Right.
But do they tell you? We had the same thing in the theater academy. Like we do space objects. Why? Do they tell you why?
What do you mean space objects?
Well, it's like it's like mime. You create this. We do this. We had this in one class. It was like for ages we were like opening a matchbox. Like why? You do a matchbox. And okay, but why? I read it like 4 years after I graduated. I found out why do we do it.
Why do you do it?
Because the same mental energy that is needed for you to create, for your hand to create an object and feel the weight, the size, the texture, the same energy that you use for that is the energy that you're going to use later to think, we're playing a scene, you're my older brother and you just hit my girlfriend and I hate you. So me creating this setup, which is fake, is the same mental energy that is going to create a matchbox, and I'm going to behave as though it's real. I'm not supposed to do dimensions. I'm supposed to feel it. There are exercises about, in theatrical exercises, like for Russian gurus in acting, like Stanislavski and stuff. Like you put one hand in a cold water and one hand in hot water, and your circulation changes. So if you're a good actor, you can fake your body feeling different temperature and change your chemistry inside of you. So the same mental energy is needed to create, for you to put yourself in a position that doesn't exist and feel things that you had never felt before. So focusing on those objects and making them real, making you a better actor. It's just a practice in believing. That's it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but people like, but I need to fake a door handle, so I need to just fake it how it stays in the air. That's not true. You need to feel with your hands, see with your eyes, hear with your ears, and then you will be in a situation and you will be truthful. Yeah,
I can see how that helps in improv, but as I say, the vast majority of American improvisers, they don't get that kind of training.
It's a lot of work.
It is.
This is what
it's
happened.
hard to do.
This is what how before this is what they did. I think in the Compass Players in the 50s, the Viola Spolin's workshops are about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want to ask me?
Well, we got to start from somewhere. Like what happened in you were here in 2009. What made you show up on this part of the planet?
So I grew up as a Cold War kid, and it was always the communist world against the free world, so called. And my first exposure to that was the Olympics, and so you'd see the East Europeans, the Romanian wrestlers, the Bulgarian weightlifters,
Oh yeah.
the Soviet and Russian ice skaters, et cetera, et cetera. And I was always fascinated by that world. And when you could finally come and visit, I wanted to come and visit. So my first time in this part of the world was visiting Russia and Ukraine in the early 2000s. And I expected to just kind of go and kind of get this out of my system. But I ended up really liking it. And I was really lucky to be invited to a household of Russian people, and got to eat homemade food and got to see how funny Russian people were. In public, people were pretty grim, but in private, people were totally different. And I ended up really liking it. So I ended up quitting my job and traveling in Russia and Ukraine.
What
for a
were you
couple of
doing? What
years.
was your job?
The last job I had at that time was I was a tech manager for a global investment bank.
So you quit that?
I'd been there for 10 years, and I was kind of burnt out and wanted to do something different. And I was going to take just a sabbatical, and I ended up just traveling around for 2 years. And at the end of that, this is 2003, I'd never had a bachelor's degree, so I decided to go back to university and finish my bachelor's degree. I had a 2-year degree in computer science. I was a tech person. And the only thing to study that made sense to me was psychology. I didn't want to study finance. I didn't want to study tech. I didn't want to study business. But I was really intrigued by how different people were in different parts of the world. So I ended up studying psychology, and that took 2 years. In 2005, one of my instructors said, "You should apply for a PhD program." And the only degree that made sense to me was a PhD in social psychology.
So you quit your job,
Traveled to Eastern Europe.
to Eastern Europe,
Yeah.
to
Russia and
Ukraine.
Yeah. And
Why Ukraine then? Why?
it was just part of the trip, and I went to Moscow and St. Petersburg. That's where 9/11 happened, when I was in St. Petersburg.
Oh.
And then I flew down to Rostov-on-Don because it's closer to Ukraine, and I went into Ukraine by bus from there and visited eastern Ukraine, Lviv. Lugansk and Kharkov, and then eventually got my way to Kiev, and just really enjoyed it. Had a great time. Went to Yalta, went to Crimea, and it was just a beautiful, magical place. And the food was great. I really liked the food, and met somebody who dated for a while, for a couple of years. And then when I was going to undergrad, every summer I would come back to Ukraine and be with my girlfriend and stuff. And then when that fell apart, that's when I decided to go to grad school. But my improv journey, I actually started seeing improv shows in the 90s. My girlfriend at the time, I was in a band, and she worked for an auction house. She was an administrator in an auction house. And all the salespeople at this auction house were improvisers. That was sort of that's where so they would make a sale, they'd get a big commission on used industrial equipment, and they could not work for a few months. And Kevin Dorff was my girlfriend's personal assistant, and he's the one that invited us to see improv shows. And I just remember thinking, oh my God, these guys are great. They're so funny, and they're so clever, and they're so fast at what they did. And most improv in the United States is comedy.
Yeah.
It's about being funny. And these guys were very, very funny. And I remember years later being in grad school by this time I was at DePaul, and I was writing my dissertation, and it was really, lonely and miserable. And I remember riding on a bus in Chicago, and I remember seeing an advertisement for improv classes from Second City. And I remember thinking, oh, I remember improv. Yeah, that sounds good. That would sound like something fun to do. So I started taking improv classes at Second City, did their short form A through E course, and we did a show, and I was not very good. But I remember really liking it. And the field of psychology that I study is called community psychology, and it's about how groups of people support each other and help each other, get healthy, psychological well-being. And I found an improv group functions almost exactly, and my field of study is addictions. An improv group works almost exactly like in a self-help group that helps people recover from addictions. So I felt it really I liked it a lot at Second City, and people said, well, you should go and take long-form classes at I.O. And I took a long-form class at I.O. My first level 1 instructor was Tara DeFrancisco, and she was a great level 1 instructor. And I remember thinking, this is my tribe. This is my group. And continued to take classes, and I was really blessed with really great teachers. I had Adel Rafai for level 2. I had Jason Schatz for level 3. I had Craig Euler for 2 levels. I had Farrell Walsh for 1 level. And then, of course, everyone has Noah Gregorlopoulos for the last level, and we performed in those classes. And again, I was always the worst improviser in the room because I was the oldest. People were there in their 20s, and they had lots of experience, from grade school and high school and stuff like that. But I really liked it. I really had a good time. And again, I.O. had this great system where they gave you a card as a student and would get you to all the shows, including TJ and Dave at I.O. in the old location on Clark. And I lived very close by. I had no girlfriend. I had no life. I was a grad student. And I remember going, and I would sit in a chair at the bar and watch improv shows week after week after week. And the teachers would say, hi, how's it going? Thanks for coming to the show. And they were very nice and stuff. And there was this one guy who was a performer, had a massive head of red hair and a red beard. His name is Joey Romaine. And he finally came up to me. I was sitting at the bar, and he says, dude, who are you? And I said, I'm Ron. I'm a psychology. I'm getting a PhD in community psychology at DePaul. And he goes, yeah, you're here all the time. What, why? And I'm taking classes here. It's really fun. He says, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I just have fun. It's just fun for classes, and it informs my research a little bit and so on. And he goes, so you don't want to be a team or anything like that? I said, not really. And I'm not that good. And they said, I want to introduce you to all the other people here. And Joey took me around and introduced me and said, this is Ron. He's taking classes. He doesn't want to do anything. He just wants to take classes and have fun. And the teachers say, yeah, I know, I have him for my class and stuff. And they really liked me. And I learned that later they really liked me because I didn't want anything from them. Yeah. I wasn't trying to get on a team. I didn't have an angle to try and get a writer or anything like that. I was just taking it, and I was different. And, you teach these classes, you see kind of the same people over and over and over again. And they said, you were different. And you're also really smart. And you also know about psychology. And you bring that into your scene sometimes. And I never forget, I said, that's great. That's really nice, you guys. But, I always think that I'm the worst improviser in the room. And, that time was like 2 people up. And one person pops up, and the other people say, oh, I don't want to play with that guy. And I was afraid of being that guy that nobody wanted to play with. And one of the teachers told me, no, people love playing with you because they like throwing shit at you, that you get to be the dad all the time. And you can be any kind of dad you want. And you can be the boss, and people would endow that with me. And I always thought that was a limiting thing. And this teacher said, no, it's a freeing thing. Play it up, right? Be a weird dad if you want to. And I remember in one scene, I was the dad, and they took me to this leather bar. And they dressed me up in leathers and stuff. And I was still the conservative dad, but I was, enjoying meeting these interesting people at this leather bar. And that's when I kind of really sort of started to get it, that it's about just having fun and enjoying what people endow upon you. And when it came finally time to defend my dissertation in the U.S., you schedule a meeting with your advisor and a committee of people from the faculty, and you present your research, and they ask you questions. And at the end of it, if they give you an approval, you become a doctor. And I remember scheduling this, and Joey, this red-haired guy, said, "Oh, can I come to your dissertation defense?" And I said, "Yeah, but Joey, you can't talk for like the entire time, and it's like an hour meeting." And he says, "Oh, I can do it. Don't worry about it." And so Joey Romaine comes to my dissertation defense and witnesses me getting my PhD. And at the end of it, they shake your hand, "Congratulations, Dr. Harvey." And then Joey took me out for pancakes to eat after that. And I forget what day it was, but later that day I was going to go to a show at I.O., and I still had my suit on for my dissertation defense. And Joey had spread that I had gotten my PhD and I was a doctor. And I walked into I.O. That night, and someone turned and see me, and they said, "Dr. Ron, Dr. Ron."
That's the story of Dr.
And everybody started pounding the bar and saying, "Dr. Ron." And so I became Dr. Ron in the improv community. And it warms my heart to this day. And that's just the kind of community Chicago was and is, right? And when I go back, people say, "Oh, let's do a show with Dr. Ron." And they'll just invite me to come and play with them and stuff. And it's really fun. I'm better now. I'm no longer the worst person in the room, but I still have that sort of nagging feeling that I'm not that good. But I don't get the reps in, traveling around and not being in heavy duty improv communities. Chicago, you can go see or be in a show 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Most places in the world are not like that. So, but I feel very fortunate to have had that training in Chicago. And then when I left, I got a Fulbright to come to Bulgaria in 2016.
Did you choose to come here?
Yeah.
Why? Were you here before?
Yeah, so I did a Fulbright as a grad student in 2009 and 2010.
Yeah, but 2009, why did you pick up Bulgaria? Because you said you went to Ukraine.
So my first trip to Bulgaria was actually in 2007. Mm-hmm. And I was going to undergrad and grad school, and I would come to different parts of Eastern Europe and explore it. And the year I started at DePaul, which was in 2007, the summer before I started, my advisor said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "I'm going to Bulgaria, Romania, Moldova, and Budapest on my summer trip." And my advisor said, "Oh, we have a program officer who just came from Bulgaria, and he's working with us on addictions. Do you want me to contact? Do you want to be in contact with him?" And I said, "Sure." And I wrote to this guy. And he said, "Yeah, I was an advisor to the Bulgarian National Center for Addictions. They're putting together a modern infrastructure. They just became part of the EU, and they sort of have to do this. And I'll put you in contact with these people." And so I came here on holiday, and I met with these people from the National Center for Addictions, the Bulgarian Addictions Center, and met with them. And I studied recovery homes in the U.S., and they said, "Oh, we could really use something like that here." And that sort of planted the seed and so I applied for a Fulbright to see if it was possible to create these homes here.
It's like the Oxford House?
The Oxford Houses, yeah. To see if it was possible to create these Oxford Houses in Bulgaria.
So Oxford Houses, just for reference,
it's a self-run recovery home. It is in the U.S., it's a house that a group of people in addiction recovery rent, and they pay the bills themselves. There's no professionals. There's no treatment on staff. They just live together and support each other.
Yeah. So this is treatment for addictions.
It's treatment for addictions.
And with the Fulbright program, you were working on this
here.
That was non-existent here.
Yeah. The first time I came here, it was to do feasibility research. And then after I got my PhD, I applied for and came back again to do a shorter grant of 5 months to do more feasibility research, and I kind of travel and kind of was a salesperson to see if anyone wanted to start these homes.
So that was 2009.
That was 2009 and 2010 was the first feasibility research. I was still a grad student, and then after, and I, wrote up some papers based on that research and used it as a basis for my second Fulbright application that I got in 2016. And during that Fulbright grant, I traveled to Varna, and there was a guy, a priest, an Orthodox priest, who runs a treatment program, and he says, "Oh, let's start one." Let's start an Oxford House here. So I ended up getting an extension to my Fulbright to stay through October, went to Varna to help start this house. And at the end of that Fulbright, I had no job. And I thought, I'd really like to stay here in Bulgaria.
Why did you like to stay here?
Because I liked living here. I liked the people here. It was Eastern Europe. It was good for my research. And
tomatoes,
best tomatoes in the world.
Yeah, you're famous on your Facebook, famous for posting photos of tomatoes.
So that got started. my first visit in 2007, I ate at some restaurant and I ordered a tomato salad. It might have even been a shopska. And my dad was still alive at the time. And I grew up as the youngest of a big family, youngest of 8 boys, and we had a family garden, and we always grew tomatoes. My dad, we'd always have fresh garden tomatoes every time. And as my parents got older and they lived, less and less on their own, and they didn't garden anymore. You've been to the United States. How are our tomatoes? They're the worst in the world. They taste like plastic.
I haven't tried them everywhere, but
they don't taste.
I guess you have also good tomatoes somewhere.
There's
everything in the States.
But the most of the time you get a tomato and it tastes like plastic.
Yeah, not many places in the world have good tomatoes.
And I would take pictures of this and I would send them to my dad, and I say, "Dad, these taste just like from our garden." And he would say, "Oh my God, they look good."
You had some good tomatoes.
Oh my God. Still do. And so that became a tradition for me to post these on Facebook so my dad could see the tomatoes. And my dad passed away in 2016, 2017, and I still keep this tradition kind of in honor of my dad. But I still love the tomatoes. Second best in the world.
Yeah, no, they're second best. Because you went to North Macedonia.
North Macedonia had better tomatoes, but not by much. And you got to give the North Macedonians something.
Of course.
And so during this time that I was in Bulgaria in 2016, and you and I got to be friends, and I said, I really would like to stay here. I looked for universities to teach at. New Bulgarian University wasn't hiring English professors. And AUBG, I did research.
It's American University in Bulgaria. It's
in
another city. Yeah.
Yep.
But it's a very city with like a lot of, I think like 2 or 3 universities there. The population is like young people, small town.
Yep. But they did not have a psychology program in 2016. And this is maybe my scheming mindset. Maybe it's improv. But I said, boy, it would be great if I met the president of AUBG. And just told him, you guys should start a psychology program. And that's what I did. The Fulbright program has English teaching assistants all over Bulgaria, and they have a debate society. They have a debate competition all over Bulgaria. It's called the BEST competition. And I learned that the president of American University in Bulgaria was going to give out the awards for these BEST competition. And it was here in Sofia, and I went. And I'd also been a judge in some of these BEST competitions. And I went up to him and I said, hey, I love what AUBG is doing here in Bulgaria. It's nice to meet you. You guys should really have a psychology program. And he goes, well, we're thinking about creating one. And I said, oh, I'm here on a Fulbright doing research. I'm a psychologist. And he goes, well, are you free? And I said, why, yes, I am. He says, great, send me your CV. Here's my card, send me your CV, and we'll see what we can do. And later on that summer, I was in Varna doing my research, and I got a call from AUBG, and they interviewed me over Skype at the time. And they said, yeah, we'd like to make you an offer to teach some classes part-time at AUBG in the fall of 2016. And so I moved back to Sofia and, traveled to Blagoevgrad and did, it was so late in the season, we didn't have time to get textbooks. And I taught introduction to psychology and social psychology, and it was very popular with the students. And they said, we would like you to create the proposal for creating the psychology program at AUBG. And I said, great, I would love to do that. So I did, made the proposal, continued to take classes, got to be a full-time faculty member, and we created the program, and it got started officially at American University in Bulgaria in 2018. And by this time, I decided I'm going to live in Bulgaria. I sold my apartment that you stayed at.
Oh yeah, the second year that we met.
Yeah.
The first year, and I went to the advanced intensive, and I was looking for a place to stay.
And I said, just stay at my place.
We knew each other for like 5 months or something, 4 months, and I stayed for 4 weeks, because I went to San Francisco. So I stayed 4 weeks in your apartment.
Small apartment.
20th floor.
20th floor. Beautiful view of the city.
Beautiful view. Some of it was you oversaw the lake. Yeah.
We were a block from the lake.
Very near the Annoyance Theater.
Yep.
Very nice place.
It was a good place, and it was close to I.O. By that time, I think they had moved to a different location, but it was close to the old I.O., but still close to Annoyance. And I'm glad you got to stay there.
So probably
But that November, I sold my place, and I said I'm moving permanently from Chicago to Bulgaria. And CIC, who you'd met, Farrell, they threw a party for me, a going away party, and it was
in a tuxedo.
It was a 3-hour-long improv show with them making fun of me and doing roasts and skits and stuff like that. It was really great, and part of just how much I loved and still, when I go back to Chicago, I hang out with that community. It's one of my major communities. It's one of my family contacts in Chicago. And so, that's how I came to be settled here, and I worked at American University in Bulgaria from 2016 to 2023. And, got to see the improv community grow here, got to see the psychology program grow at AUBG, and I love Bulgaria. And got a little burnt out, and then decided to take a job in Vietnam at a different university, an Australian university, in 2023, and then, fulfilled my 2-year contract, decided that the Vietnam and the job was great. I learned a lot, and it was very fulfilling. Learned a lot about the improv community there. Went to some improv festivals in Asia, and hung out with improvisers in Manila, in Singapore, in Vietnam, in Hanoi, in Saigon, but decided to come back here.
Yeah, I think you're one of the major improv travelers. You've seen shows everywhere, almost. I guess. But but you've seen Asian improv. You've seen you travel around festivals all the time.
Yeah,
in Europe and probably South America. You haven't been to.
I've not been to South America, but I have been to South Africa.
Okay, South African improv as well.
And saw improv in South Africa. Been to a bunch of festivals in Europe.
Yeah.
Not so many festivals in the United States. Mostly. I've seen improv shows in Chicago, in L.A., a little bit in New York.
So, what's your take on improv here compared to other places that you've seen?
Well, I think how you described it earlier is correct. You don't do dramatic improv, but you do much more drama-focused improv. Where in the United States, most improv is about laughs, and it's about being funny, and it's about getting to the funny as quickly as possible. In Chicago, it's much more about funny in the relationships. If you're more UCB, it's about finding the game of the scene and then playing that game portion and just getting to the funny as quickly as possible. Here, it's much slower. It's much more about the relationships. It's a little bit more talky, and it's far, far, far less, understandably so, political than it is in the States. You'll have people there's politically explicit improv shows in Chicago at Second City that'll be just literally about making fun of the administration or making fun of politics in general. And so guys tend to stay away from that
Yeah.
and tend to be much more about relationships.
So, on Monday now, 2 days ago, we had here with the classes, they created blood cells that formed a union. So it was like, and then they said at the end, the outcome was like communism doesn't work on a cellular level as well.
So is that unusual to have that sort of commentary?
No,
Okay.
it happens every now and then.
Right.
Yeah. But we're like, there's this, with a lot of people have a memory of the socialist times.
Yeah.
We know kind of there is in the zeitgeist, in the air. There's like why it doesn't work and how it doesn't work. I think that's one of the things is. After that, censorship, people are very sensitive to censorship.
Yeah.
So if you ask somebody to censor their opinion or their feelings about something, or artists, this is a no-go zone. And I think that censorship right now is kind of popping up in Western Europe and in the States. Like, you should do that or you shouldn't do that. And because it serves a certain agenda, it's kind of like, oh, it's not censorship. But it is like, don't do this is a censorship in a way. And here you can be... There are some shows, artists that do a lot of stuff, that you can, but saying to somebody, don't do that, try and do it in this way, is a no-go zone.
Yep. I mean, it does reflect, improv reflects a lot of the culture. The United States is very individualistic. In Vietnam, for example, it's much more family-oriented. And so if you have a scene where a mother and their kid is together, the mother has high status, always. And the kid will always obey what the mom or dad wants to happen. In the United States, dad says, I want you to come home at 8. The kid will say, no, forget you. I'm going to come home at 10. Right? It's automatically to rebel.
Well, here we had at the festival, because like a lot of parents here smoke. And we had scenes about parents teaching their kids how to smoke because that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
So it's like the sort of social satire here that we do.
Yeah. And status is viewed very differently here. I used to, when I was living here in 2016 and 2017, I taught a small group of English-speaking Bulgarians classes, and we did a number of shows together.
Yeah, Click Billy was
Click
the name
Click
of the
Billy,
group.
exactly. And one of the things that was always a challenge is that, if somebody was of different status, that established their relationship. It was always going to be adversarial to a certain degree. If you're high status, you're going to always do something bad to the low status person. If you're low status, you're always going to try and cheat the high status person. In the U.S., we acknowledge the status, but we're going to try and get along.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to try and treat each other with respect, but with a boundary.
Yeah. This is I think I call it the rebellious nature of the population against the system. In a way, I don't think we as a nation are trusting institutions.
Yeah.
So it's always like, if you are from an institution, everybody's like keeping it low and trying to trick the system in a way. It's very strange.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's kind of like an issue with the socialism. The top was controlling the bottom of the population. So like a top 12 people that run the country, and everybody was like serving them in a way. So now it's like, institutions, we gotta, we're not trusting institutions.
Yep.
And I think it's bad. It's not good.
I think.
What else? Yeah, the differences.
I think the great gift in my life, and this started, in the early 2000s with traveling to Russia and Ukraine, is I love seeing how different people in different cultures interact and how they define certain things. And then as an improviser, it's gold. As a psychologist, it's gold. I've never taught American students. I've only taught abroad. I've only taught psychology abroad. I've only taught improv abroad. And just seeing how different people view different things is like gold for me.
And there's no right way to do it.
No.
There's certain parts of the world where like this is how it should be done, and it's always wrong. It's
just your thing. There's a quote from a guy named Lippmann. He says, "If anyone who knows one country knows no countries. If you only know how you view things, that's it." Yeah. Right, and you're very limited. And when you see how different cultures do improv or do psychology and stuff, it's like it opens up your whole world for what is possible. And that's what improv should be all about, is just opening up to all the different possibilities. But if you only see your little narrow field, you don't know what the possibility is. I'll never forget, as a student in the United States, somebody was it was in a show, and it was a kid in his bedroom. He's a teenager and he's playing guitar, and his parents has just yelled at him and stuff, and he was kind of down about things, and he's playing a Hendrix riff, imaginary, on an imaginary guitar, and someone, improviser, came on stage and became a Hendrix poster in this kid's room and started talking to the kid. And I said, holy shit, you can be a talking Jimi Hendrix poster giving advice to the kid. And if I had never saw that, I would never have thought of being a talking poster in a teenager kid's bedroom. And so that's what improv is just seeing people do stuff. And some of it will be great. Some of it will be terrible. Some of it will be things that you've seen a million times. But that little possibility of seeing what's possible is the great thing.
Yeah. So what else did you notice here? I'm interested in your perspective, because you were here for a number of years. Did you see any changes? Did you see evolution or the opposite? I don't know.
I see you guys. You guys were very talking heads in the very beginning, just talking. Mm-hmm. Now you're much more active, much more. I've seen the 3-act play where you really are using the space. And really respecting that space and using all parts of it. I like the fact you've evolved to doing 2-person shows. You would never do that, right? In the beginning, and part of that is just getting confidence. Part of that is just showing the audience, how can 2 people talking for an hour be interesting? Well, you've learned how to do that, right? But you saw how that was able to occur with Dummy. And lots, TJ and Dave, lots of, and I think if you look at the evolution of an improv team, it always starts as a big team, and then when people want to do their own thing, it's never like let's double the size of our team. Nobody says that. It's always let's do something smaller, because you want to do something more intimate, and you want to have that really special connection. And so you guys haven't done solo improv yet. And I have my own opinions about that, but I've seen it evolve from large guaranteed entertainment stuff to something much more smaller and intimate, which I think is really nice and really beautiful.
Yeah, I believe the beauty is in a way the diversity of the things that you can see, right? But I'm always, because I have many hats. It took me a while to realize that I'm many different people, because I run a theater, I run classes, and there's a different attitude towards classes than professional actors. They even demand different things. Actors demand specific directions, and they want to be pushed, by the way. Because acting, if you go into acting, you're there and you want to become better. You're like an Olympic athlete. You can be very cheerful to classes, you learn how to swim. But if you swim well, you got to push people's boundaries. And actors demand their boundaries to be pushed. And so there's also, many other perspectives. With running a theater, you need to put on a show that is entertaining in a way. So sometimes I'm like, okay, this is not a very good improviser as an actor, but they're very entertaining. So I'm going to make a show that is like looser, not much improvised in a deeper level, but like fun and games.
To emphasize their strengths.
Yeah, so playing with people's strengths. And people are scared of 2-person improv. They don't know, they don't have the strength to do it. They don't have the capacity to do it. Musical was the same thing, but I'm always pushing the boundaries. People were afraid to sing without preparation or anything. So we did a 15-minute musical numbers at the end of our show, and rehearsing for that, I built the confidence of the team to sing so we can then do a musical. So our shows are always, what can we do? What can we do better? How can we expand and make something different? And I'm blessed with people that are dedicated and happy and positive and want to work and want to learn more and are spending their time. Because it evolved from a bunch of people meeting for no money and playing to people teaching classes and earning some kind of living, not the full-time. Nobody's full-time doing this, but it's nice to be able to teach and play and and they still give their free time. We did like 2 days ago. We did a show in front of kids, so people are. It's we're in a way on a mission, and that's happy to feel.
Oh yeah, you're building a community. I mean, I will tell you what I'd like to see.
Yeah, tell me more.
So my American sensibilities say I want to see funny. And I want you to.
No, you came to the wrong place.
Yeah, I know. I want, and I want you to get to.
It sounds like we're not having fun or something.
And I want you to get to the funny as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And I want to make it obvious. It's obvious and understandable. I also, this is starting to happen much more in the U.S., where you have lots and lots of independent teams, and they come together, and it'll be almost a variety show.
Yeah.
So it'll open with a musician, maybe one or two musicians, and they'll sing a couple songs.
Yeah.
Not very long, 10 or 15 minutes. And then there'll be an improv set, and it'll be an independent team, and they have their shtick, and it'll be really, really fun and funny. And then they'll do another short stand-up,
Yeah.
5 or 10 minutes. And then there'll be a headlining improv group. So you get to see a lot of different stuff. And I really like that because, I mean, our attention span is very short, and it's like boom, 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 boom. But you'll guarantee to have a great time by the end of the night. And I know you're very concerned about quality. In the United States, we deal with quality not by actually addressing quality, but by throwing a bunch of different things at people. And that works some of the time. I can't go to shows in the U.S. anymore where it's going to be 3 Herald teams, and one of them will be good.
Yeah,
right. I liked going to shows. I bought tickets for TJ and Dave. They're playing at the Goodman in July. I bought tickets for that. I know it'll be good, because they're master improvisers. But I'll also go to Logan Square Improv, and the quality of improv will be much higher because they like to do really fast improv, and it's young people, and they have a lot of high energy.
Yeah. Now we put here a show with it, which is once a month. We started last year. You weren't here. We started a show that is like free entrance, pay on the way out again. So we invite larger crowds. No entrance fee. So it's like bring your friends and stuff. And we're doing this. We have like straight to the fun thing.
Yeah.
And then we have every second show. We do 2 shows a month, and every second show is a format show. So it's more of a long form 1 hour play in a way. Mm-hmm. So Tarantino or Shakespeare or The Naked Stage or stuff like that, or musical. And every second show is like a free entrance variety type of show. Mm-hmm. And I find out we started working with young actors now to 20, 25 years old. And I find out that when they have no pressure of like, oh, people pay to be here, they're much more open, and they're gaining experience. And the team is kind of growing.
You have Rossi and Yana doing their thing.
People started doing their thing now.
I think I sort of judge the health of an improv community by the number and the proliferation of independent teams. You're always going to have the professionals. You're going to have the established people doing shows at whatever theater. But if you have a bunch of people saying, I would like to play as well, and they do their own thing, I think that says a lot about the health of an improv community. I know you're always going to be concerned about quality.
I think this is because we're competing on a market of comedy.
Yes.
So you're
and
like
it's
Friday night.
It's a much smaller market.
Yeah, but it's Friday night, so you have so many things going on.
Yep.
And if you have a show that is like, then people will not come back.
Yes.
So I'm trying not to put that pressure on people, but as a manager, it's like I have to think about that in a way. But I'm happy now that with the 15 years that 5 of us that are still in the group from the beginning, those 15 years are there, and we cannot go. The show will be good. Now I'm confident with that. 5 years ago, 7 years ago, I wasn't confident about that. So I was like, how can we do it? So the best thing is in the end and stuff. Right. But now I'm like, even our bad show feels good to people that saw improv for the first time. Right. We know that we could do a lot better because we have done a lot better. But this is on us. Yeah.
So in my thinking in the U.S., and we've talked about this, if you have 2 improvisers and they're good and they know what they're doing, put them together and they'll do a good show.
Yeah.
And sometimes that won't happen, but most of the time it will. And for brigadiers, our team, we've performed a few times, and I've always enjoyed them. Or you and I have done a show with Farrell, on stage.
Yeah.
That was not a great show, but I enjoyed parts of it. But I really, we did a show with Andiel.
Yeah.
And that was a really good and fun show. I thought that was great.
Yeah, a lot of things happened during the years, right?
a lot of great things have happened, So you brought in, improvisers one time to kind of teach a smaller class. Then you have larger festivals and stuff. I'm signed up for the festival classes in number 8. I'm looking forward to that. I think you run the festivals really great, in a very friendly, open way. You make it easy.
Tell me what about the festival? How do you feel about compared to other places you've been? What is the unique thing that we have?
The unique thing that you promote the festival pass. You buy a festival pass, you get into all the shows, you get a discount for the thing. It makes it easy. You're not collecting a bunch of tickets, to get into the shows, to get into the theater and stuff like that. It's so easy. I really like that. I like the fact that you go to a show, you walk in the lobby, you can hang out in the lobby, you can go to the Shizzy Club. It's all right there. And that's really, really nice and unique, as opposed to having it all spread out, or you have the show in a tiny club and you really can't hang out, right? So that's those things are really, you'd be surprised as a festival goer. Okay, I want to go to this festival. Okay, I want to buy this workshop. Oh, do I have to buy a festival pass? Okay, is it a festival pass for 4 days? Is it for 5 days? Oh, I don't know. And I end up I'm reading through all this stuff and all the conditions and all the different options, and it's just too complicated. You make it very simple, and I really, really, really like and appreciate that for the festival. You can sign up for the festival pass, go to all the shows, go to a couple workshops. It's great, and it's low cost, right? Because Bulgaria and Sofia is much cheaper than Copenhagen or Oslo or anything like that. So that's one thing I really like. And you do something different year after year after year. You have a different theme. The artwork for the festival is great. That's Costa does the artwork. It's always new and different. It's I like that a lot. And it's starting to gain traction. People like coming to the Sofia Festival because, it's for all those reasons. As opposed to going, I've tried to go into other festivals in Europe, and some are just impossible to get in, where I don't even consider, they announce, this festival is happening on this place, and it's like, no, I've tried to get in just to go for a number of years, and I can't even get in, so I don't even bother going to them anymore. Some are geared for locals, yours is more geared for internationals. And again, it depends on the size of the community in that place. So Oslo has a lot of local improvisers, so they try to do things for locals as well as international visitors. You don't have to deal with that. You make it easy for international. And yours is always 5 days?
Yeah, 5 days of workshops, 4 days of shows.
Great. Easy.
Kind of short.
Just
for a weekend, extended weekend.
It's an extended weekend. It's always for the extended weekend. That makes perfect sense to me. There's some festivals that are 10 days. Who can take off work for 10 days? Right?
Hopefully we can.
Yeah.
Let's hope we can.
But keeping it short and sweet, I think is a good idea. And having a variety of 3-hour to multi-day classes, I think, is great. You're really blessed to have the big theater to use. It's a nice, big, comfortable theater.
Which is a small theater by here standards, because every theater here is 400 seats now. We are 150 is the big one, but it's it's a small stage.
But it's the perfect size.
Yeah,
for the
for
festival.
improv, I think our stage is very good for improv. 140 seats, not very deep. Everybody feels connected to what's going on stage, because it's 10 rows. 2 rows are on the balcony, which is above the last 2 rows. So it has
good sound.
Yeah,
it's a big stage.
Yeah,
so you can really move around a lot. Yeah, it's the addition of the club was key, because that's your anchor.
Yeah, it's on the other side of the the lobby.
Yeah, and it's a nice club. It's comfortable. You can sit. You can make it open. Yeah, it's a good space. That was a good
Well, thank you,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Ron, for this great conversation. It's like a history lesson of your experience and our little trip down the improv rabbit hole.
Yeah, I mean, it's been my great pleasure to watch. It had been well established by 2016 when I came here, but to help you guys out and to see the first festival and how it's grown over the years. I've been lucky enough to perform at the Sofia festival. I've been fortunate enough to take classes, and so and now I'm kind of back, and I'm looking forward to number 8, which is my number because I'm the 8th kid, born on the 8th of October. So 8
A
is
lot
my,
of 8s.
8 is my number.
Oh, well, good to have you back. You're here now, having fun. Don't have to work, right?
I'm trying out a gap year of working and trying a year of retirement. We'll see how that works out.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the conversation, and maybe we can do another one sometime.
I would like that.
We're not gonna not that historically focused.
No, would be. I think it'd be great if you could have this set up for the teachers that you have come in for the festival. Just do like a 15-minute podcast interview.
we can try. This was our first edition with that setup.
Yep.
So we'll see how it goes.
It's a little freaky looking at you and then the material behind you. It's almost as if you're floating in multiple dimensions.
Yeah, a lot of people have problems with that. I don't know why some have, some don't. Because we do. This is a small room that we teach classes in, and some people are like, I cannot watch this wall.
Yeah, you have to sit here. I'll flip with you.
A lot of people say that. A lot of people don't have a problem. So I don't know. Maybe there's a reason behind it.
It's our perception. It's like we're seeing movement where we're looking at you, but we're seeing movement with the shadows and stuff, and it's very distracting for the brain.
Okay, but you handled it perfectly.
Well, I would freak out a couple times. This is why I would look down just to refresh my eyesight.
Okay, thank you for coming here.
My pleasure.